Hello again, Kingston Town Administrator Keith Hickey with the latest edition of Kingston In Depth. With me this month is our Library Director, Donald Colon. Donald, thanks for coming in. Appreciate you being here.
Thank you very much for having me. I appreciate that.
Donald has been the librarian in Kingston now for just over 2 years. Has done a tremendous job at increasing circulation and activities in the library. Just to give you some statistics, in 2023, the library ended up issuing 26% more publications than they did in 2022, excuse me. That's 25,000 more items that went out of the library in 2023 than did in 2022. So obviously tremendous activity going on over there, which is great, which is attributed in large part to your direction, so congratulations. And then in June of 2023, 100 new library cards were issued to new people who either moved into town or wanted to get more involved in the library. So again, we've got more people going into the library and had 12,000 items checked out of the library in June alone, which is between 2,000 and 3,000 more than we did a year ago at that time. So lots going on,
Absolutely.
which is great. Libraries are an important part of our community, and appreciate you trying to move forward and make it a better place for providing more information to people over there, so they want to go over there. So maybe you can talk a little bit about the role of the library in Kingston and how you're trying to expand that.
Sure. So fundamentally, the role of the library in the community is to provide equitable access to information and to materials. By default, a lot of other activities occur, whether it is partnerships with community groups, the offering of programs, new services, technology, all sorts of things. The thing is that for libraries over time the libraries are a personal experience for each individual. We all kind of view the library in different ways. We use the library in different ways, from the individual who might come in and just read the morning newspaper to the college student who comes for quiet study, or the mom who brings the children in for storytime programs and things like that. We basically are a community center where the welcome kind of center for new residents to the town. We're the conduit that connects new community members to other community groups, departments, and so forth. We work in partnership with other community groups like the Garden Club, as well as departments such as the Recreation Department and Council on Aging, in providing services that will meet the needs of community members. Traditionally, the library some cases have been viewed as a warehouse of books, and that's just not the case. We are constantly fighting the stereotypes of, being a shushing place, which is so untrue nowadays. We are, centers of activities. We are pro-services. We want to do more for the community, as, best we can within our restraints, whether staffing, funding, et cetera. As far as, personal views of the library, I've seen individuals who, came as children, were avid readers, then became, volunteers, and then ultimately pursued a career in librarianship. We've seen individuals who, unfortunately, one particular story that, has always stuck out to me from a previous library was a woman who became divorced, was now a single mom, had to go back to school. The library provided quiet study space. We provided interlibrary loan services to her so that she could get books that otherwise would have been, costly to her. And ultimately, we offered job search training for her, resume writing and so forth. And ultimately, she got basically the dream job. So it isn't just about the physical materials, but the opportunities and life changes that it could bring to the individual community members.
That's great. And again, you've mentioned a couple of times there's opportunities if somebody's going into the Kingston Library looking for some sort of publication and you don't have it, there may be opportunities to get a copy of that from a neighboring library.
Absolutely. The Kingston Public Library is part of OCLN, which is the Old Colony Library Network. We're a consortium of public and academic libraries on the South Shore, mainly a lot of the coastal communities. But we also provide interlibrary loan across the state as well as across the country. So if there are particular items that we don't have, we can check locally, and then we would, do further searching. Kingston, as most public libraries are not libraries of historical record. So those would be libraries that their jobs are to collect one of every item that's ever written. So in our case, it would be Boston Public Library.
Sure.
Would be the ultimate source for those kind of items.
So what else is happening? Excuse me. What type of services and programs can people be part of at the library right now?
Sure. So the library offers, besides the regular, physical materials such as books and DVDs and things like that, we have streaming services, Canopy, Hoopla, Libby, which is for audiobooks and things like that. But folks can come. We have public computers that are available free of charge. We have story times for children. We have adult craft programs. We have copier services. We have a whole slew of, kind of individual one-on-one kind of programming, things individuals can come in and, whatever their needs are, we try to accommodate them.
Sure.
So while it may not be a focused service, we do try, our best to, do what we can for individuals.
That's great. Obviously, September, get back to school. Kids are going to gear back up now. September's a big month for libraries. Can you tell us why and what's happening in September?
Sure. So September is recognized as National Library Card Sign-Up Month, and traditionally that is the largest time that we get new library cards specifically with children. So what we will be doing is Kingston staff, myself, the children's librarian, and other staff members will be doing a lot of outreach, to the schools, to the Council on Aging, as well as local businesses that we can set up a table at. Sure. To kind of get out to the community. Mm-hmm. We have been attending the monthly farmers markets, which have been very beneficial, in getting out into the community to get new, library card holders, and it just gives us a good opportunity to go to the community and promote what services that we have and, what is available, and also to get feedback from the community. Sure. Because the thing is, we have our own ideas. We read professional journals of what's happening in other libraries, mm-hmm. but it's what does the Kingston community want. Yeah,
there's no question. You guys have really gotten out and been very proactive, and like you said, farmers market, different events to promote the library, and I think that's really made a huge difference in making people more aware of what a modern library, and specifically in Kingston, what they're able to do there, and the services they can take advantage of while they are there. So it's been great.
Absolutely.
One of the things I find interesting about the Kingston Library is, and I apologize, I can't remember the name of the program, but you've got a variety of things that you lend out for people to use that may not need to buy something like that, but maybe you'll use on occasion, that they may be able to go to the library and take advantage of that program. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Sure, absolutely. So that is our collection. It's called the Library of Things collection, and what that is a collection of unique items that we have a lot of tools and things like that you may only need to use one time, that otherwise it would sit in a garage, rot away, and the next thing you know, it may end up in the landfill. So a lot of the items from our collection was actually funded through the Kingston Public Library Foundation, mm-hmm. as well as the recycling committee. Sure. They had provided, because they do see the library as the ultimate recycler, that while we're providing books, people aren't buying the books, and they're not ending up in landfills. So we have various items. We have a typewriter, we have basically anything to have a party. We have folding chairs, we have disco lights, we have bubble machines, we have bongos, we have ukuleles, we have gardening tools, we have lawn games, the oversized games and things like that. So there's a lot of single use or of new interest. So,
Sure.
for example, if your child was interested in, wanting to learn how to play the bongos, borrow our bongos, check it out for 2 weeks, and if after 15 minutes they don't want to use it anymore, then you saved a few dollars that way.
So is there a list on the website or something?
Yes, there is. There is. So if somebody comes in physically to the library, we do have a binder of all the current items,
Okay.
as well it is available online on the website.
So people can go to, what's the website for the library?
So it is the kingstonpubliclibrary.org.
Okay.
So there is a link there that people can go to access it, and it will take them to the catalog. So the items can be placed on hold with Kingston library cards, and they do go out for 2 weeks.
And again, there's an amazing range and variety of items that you have there that people can use. They're free of charge.
Yes.
And like you said, they can be signed out for up to 2 weeks, which is fantastic. But you do need a library card.
That is correct.
So again, to get a library card in Kingston, people can they do that online?
So what folks can do is they can register for what is called an e-card, which would give them access to our online databases. Like, so for example, if someone was looking to use an e-book or an e-audio book, they would be able to access the database that way. Or if they wanted to reserve our museum passes, we have discounted museum passes that are provided to us by the Friends of the Kingston Public Library.
And when you talk about, I'm sorry to interrupt, but when you talk about the museum passes, can you talk about, is it Boston, it's the Museum of Science?
So it's like the Museum of Science, the Museum of Fine Arts. There's a lot of diverse, kind of organizations,
Sure.
zoos, and as well as, actual museums. We have the State Parks Pass, which would allow for free parking at many of the state locations like beaches and things like that.
So again, another resource of the library, if you want to bring your kids to different museums and different activities around Massachusetts, there may be an opportunity to save some money. By utilizing the library and the passes that they have there. Again, is there a list of what's available online for that as well?
There is.
Okay.
So if folks go to our online, on our website, there is our online calendar of events, which also has access to our museum pass, and folks can reserve the passes online.
And those passes provide, I'm assuming, discounted rates when they go into the different...
They do, and they are very varied in the amount.
Sure.
Like it could be a pass for 2 people, for 4 people. A lot of the passes, due to COVID times, were changed to electronic
Sure.
passes, so folks can register. They get a code from us, and then they would be emailed, the ticket. They'd be able to print off the ticket.
Perfect, so they can do it remotely if they want to do that. They don't have to come to the library to get a pass to the Museum of Science. You can do that all electronically.
It all varies, so I can't
Okay.
specifically say
All
for
right.
the Museum of
Fair
Science,
enough.
but it does vary.
So again, I think it's important for people to realize that, again, if you're looking to take your family or just yourself to some sort of an event, you may have an opportunity to utilize the library for savings of some kind to that particular event. So again, one more option that hopefully people weren't aware of that they will be now. So obviously, and we've talked about this a little bit, or you've talked about this a little bit. So much you can do online now. So many, Kindles and electronic opportunities to read books and things of that nature. Where do you see the public library moving in the future?
So it's interesting because libraries have a history of reinventing themselves, because really when you think about it, we started with clay and stone tablets, and now we're working with electronic tablets.
Sure.
So I think that libraries will grow in the services that they offer.
Mm-hmm.
Many of the libraries now have social workers, because a lot of times we do get inquiries by patrons with questions that would be better suited for a social worker, for
Sure.
proper research and things like that. As well as a lot of libraries, provide passport services. I think that libraries will continue to be offering, in-person programming,
Mm-hmm.
Physical materials, and I think in those senses that, those things will continue, but what the next physical format will be, because there is a lot of trends that do show that folks are going back to print materials versus digital. For whatever reason,
Sure.
a lot of people like the feel of a physical book over, being on their electronic devices for any long period of time. So it is kind of tough to say where we're going, but we always have to move forward. We can't be stagnant, because then we're not meeting the community needs, which is what our number one thing is to meet our community needs.
So are there, electronic books and things of that nature that they can check out from the Kingston Library? Well, how have you moved to the 21st century as far as supporting technology, and for those who don't necessarily need to have a paperback book in their hands?
So what folks can do is we have various collections. We have Libby, which is part of Overdrive. It's their app that would allow access to ebooks, e-audios, as well as e-videos, as well as Hoopla, which provides access to books, audiobooks, movies, comics, music. And then we have Canopy, which is also for a lot of movies collections. So some of these collections are straight collections where individuals would just use their library cards and it would just check out like a regular book.
Sure.
And then after a period of time, it would disappear. It would just, basically not be functional
Sure.
and disappear from their accounts. We're also looking at, starting in September, we're going to get a new language database, which is called Mango, which will allow, patrons who are interested in learning a foreign language, even if it's conversational for, going on trips
Sure.
or something more, serious, folks will be able to access that with their library cards as well. And that is something that will be available off-site. Sometimes that there are services that, for example, we have Ancestry, and that would be something that folks could use their library card, but it would have to be in library.
Okay.
It wouldn't be something that they could remotely access.
Sure. So there's lots of different things going on.
There's lots of things.
And you've updated the website within the last year or so that better reflects some of the offerings that the library has available to people. So I think it's important, if you have an interest in the library now has so many different opportunities to utilize a variety of sources for your needs, not only reading books, but now you can go borrow a handsaw or something on that line, which again is great because it gets you in the library, right? And ideally you get a library card and maybe you'll see something going on in the library that will interest you and get more involved. So with that, obviously the town appropriates money on an annual basis to support the library. The Friends of the Kingston Public Library do a great job behind the scenes, sponsoring events and supplementing the budget with some of their funds. But how can individuals support the library?
Okay, so we do have two fundraising entities. We have the Friends of the Library, which they're the ones that hold the annual book sales. Those fundings, the funds from those fundraisers go to purchase the museum passes as well as for summer reading programs for children and teens. We also have the Kingston Public Library Foundation, who does the larger tiered kind of requests, whether it's technology, capital improvements and things like that. But for individuals to support the library, it's kind of twofold. One, it's giving to those donations, but also by just coming and utilizing the library, because a lot of the state aid monies that we get are, generated based upon actual usage. So we have people counters, so when people come in, they're counted, and all that data is sent to the state, and actually I just completed that report yesterday.
Great.
So, just by utilizing the library and just come checking us out and seeing what we offer. So, we have to keep track of the number of attendees at various programs, the people that come in, the checkouts, the number of library cards that, are issued on an annual basis and so forth. So just by utilizing the library is a major help, in getting the support from the state, and then, as I said, contributing to the two fundraising entities, as well as volunteering at the library.
Sure.
There is always tons of volunteer work that can be done, and that helps us, do other high-tiered, kind of work tasks that would otherwise, kind of be put on the back burner.
And there is opportunities too, if you need space for a day or an afternoon to potentially use the library, or if people remember, across the street, the Adams Center is managed by the library, and that's an opportunity to potentially utilize that building as well if there's a need for a small meeting or something along those lines, a gathering of some kind. They can certainly call the library, talk to them about the opportunities that might be available to them for using space, and that space can be provided free of charge or for very little cost.
That is correct. That is correct. So we do have 2 meeting spaces available at the Adams Center. There is a form that would be, needed to be completed, and actually I'm the one that, would process those. So if anyone has any questions, that they could, reach out to me. The Adams Center does house our local history collection and our archives, which currently there is a exhibit going on for the Kingston schools. So we have a lot of artifacts from the schools, a lot of written journals and highlights of prominent folks from the 1800s up to recent times, yearbooks. We also have a uniform from Sacred Heart for a former student and stuff like that. So we're doing exhibits over there to promote the building more.
Right.
One of the challenges that we do have is that we do have an archivist, but obviously having a single person in a building, provides safety issues and stuff like that.
Sure.
So we're trying to build up the perception and of the value of that, collection.
And if people haven't been in the Adams Center, it's an absolutely spectacular building. Beautiful, architecture's amazing. Our former facilities manager, Brad Norman, did a lot of work at improving and just sprucing up, so to speak, the inside of that building, so people have an opportunity to take a peek at some of the things that are being displayed right now, and also take a peek at the building itself. It's a beautiful building, right in front of the Reed Center and right across the street from the library. So it's a convenient spot that has its own parking. Would suggest that you take advantage of that if you can. Any other last-minute comments or thoughts or things you want to make people aware of that's happening in the library?
So first of all, I just want to thank the community. Like as you mentioned early on, I've been here 2 years. The response has been wonderful. The support has been wonderful. Working with a lot of the community groups. We have the art committee, we have the garden club, we have agricultural, we have recycling. All the community groups have been very passionate, and they have been very wonderful to work with. And that's one of the key successes of public libraries, is the partnerships that we can build with the community. Moving forward, I would like to build relationships with businesses, in regards to having like programming. So recently we actually had Kingston Animal Hospital, one of the vets there came and did a talk on pet safety.
Sure.
So just reaching out to the community to kind of bring the community in and, kind of expose, and promote their businesses a little, but just kind of bring us all together, which is really one of the core values for us.
No question. And if people have any suggestions after they visit the library on how or something that the library can provide that they may not now, I know Donald's always available and willing to listen to your request, and if it can be satisfied, we certainly will do that. So with that, I want to thank Donald very, very much for coming in today, and hopefully making people more aware of what the library can do for the residents of the community, and hopefully you'll start seeing some new people visiting the library, and some of those who haven't been there for a while come back.
Absolutely.
So with that, I want to thank you. Before we leave today, just want to remind everybody that our fall town meeting is going to be October 24th on a Tuesday night. The warrant closes. If anybody has any warrant articles they'd like, or citizens petitions they'd like to have included on the warrant, that closes September 12th. So our fall town meeting schedule and activities are gearing up. And hopefully people can take some time and attend on the 24th. There'll be some items that I think people will need to be aware of, and it'll be important for you to weigh in and let the different boards and commissions and town staff know how you feel and what direction you want to go in. So with that, Donald, thanks again for being here. Appreciate it very much, and we'll see you again next time.